And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome to a very special episode of New Earth TV Live, where we are going to be featuring the signposts. So again, if you're familiar with the signpost, you know it's all about current events. And again, I basically put these on whenever I'm being guided to talk a little bit more about current events. So we're going to have a very interesting broadcast today. We're going to have some Q&A. There won't be any distance healing today. And also next week I will not have an episode because I'm going to be in the UK. So basically I'll be coming back in 2 weeks' time on the Thursday for the next New Earth TV Live with Adronis. But today is all about the signposts. So we're going to be looking at some certain things as well too. We're going to be taking your questions as well too about certain events, and basically it can be any particular event that you want. Yes, even politics. You know how much I love politics, right? So anyways, like I said, I just get this personal guidance. It says, okay, it's time to do a little bit more current event stuff, right? Even though I've been trying to steer away from it, it's kind of like, guidance kind of brings you back to it. You got to keep talking about it. You got to keep doing it because I guess the way I deliver it is interesting. So anyways, we're going to go ahead and get started with today's broadcast. Firstly, with some announcements. Here we go. And of course, we have the end of July 22 coupon code right here, or discount code. Okay, you can use that, and you can get 22% off all products on etherics.co. I'm getting an email here from Qigong Master about an email sent. Qigong Master, I haven't got anything from you. So again, please make sure you're emailing me at info@etherics.co. Okay, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. But anyways, with Etherics.co, like I said, 22% off. Now, I'm going to be leaving for the UK tomorrow afternoon. So basically, if you guys want to get the in-house orders sent out today, then make sure you order today. Simple as that. Otherwise, we have to wait until August 7th when I return, because I will not be I obviously will not be fulfilling orders when I'm in the UK. And I'm leaving tomorrow up until August 6th. So I'll be back in the evening of August 6th, and then August 7th I'll be sending out the orders that will be accumulated from when I am away. But again, if you want to use that code today, make sure you order today. That'd be my recommendation, because I'm going to be sending out some packages today. I'm going to be sending out some packages tomorrow before I leave as well too. So if you want your delivery fast, make sure you order today. Very important. So what kind of things do we have that represent the in-house shipping products? So this is one of them, okay? This is the Organite 3D array, okay? We see this little sticker here on the bottom that contains all of the Etherics Transcendental codes, and the entire pyramid itself is manually imbued with the source vibration. We have different varieties of the Organite 3D array. So I've had people that have emailed me and said, Brad, this is absolutely super powerful. Like, I have it just right next to me and I can feel like every cell in my body vibrating. I'm even feeling that right now with it. It's very, very powerful. The Organite in here really amplifies the codes powerfully. And it's already maxed out with very strong coding. So again, this is something that is available on Etherics as an in-house. This is an in-house shipping product. We also have the selenite. Okay, it's a little hard to see because you need kind of sunlight to see the Etherics logo. So I don't know if you can see it too well. You can probably see it a little bit. Okay, but once it's in the sunlight, you can really see it. this is the selenite plate. Okay, I got another batch that has now come in for the selenite plate, and these two are super powerful. This is an amplifier theme. Amplifier theme also works together with harmonizing the environment and harmonizing yourself and bringing the cellular energy of the selenite directly into your body as well too. So super powerful. And of course we also have the amethyst 3D arrays. Okay, so this is the standard amethyst geode, and here's a heart-shaped one. So we have both the heart-shaped and the standard amethysts as well too. And of course they also have the sticker on the bottom. If they don't have a sticker, then they're manually imbued, and you get a little sticker when you receive it saying it's been imbued with the Etherics coating. We also, of course, have the Etherics visors. Okay, this is a rainbow gradient, and it's through these codes here, it's through these symbols here that the codes are imbued directly into the glasses. People are actually starting to get improved eyesight. I'm hearing from people saying, Brad, my eyes are feeling actually a lot better. They're not so sore, they're feeling a lot better, and all I'm doing is wearing sunglasses, or I'm wearing clear glasses. Fantastic. I wear these as well too, and they've been helping my eyesight quite a bit too, because I haven't really needed to wear this too much. My eyesight is actually starting to improve, right? So you want to give yourself a couple of months, of course, when you're working with the visors, but they're going to really, really help. Like my eyesight is actually starting to really improve from it. So I haven't really needed those things too much, which is fantastic. So those are the Etherics visors. And again, these are all in-house shipping products I'm showing you. Okay? Here's the ether cloth, or the face cloth. Okay? So again, as we see the logo, all of the codes are contained inside that logo. It has what's known as a cleanse mode, so it goes a lot more deeper than the previous version. So it goes much more deeper through the face, it goes much more deeper into the tissues, into the cells, even into the bone and into the bone marrow to completely replenish you. These work as well too. I'm always using my in-house products, right? And I can always tell where there's improvement. It's working well. And finally, here is the beach towel. Okay, beach towel, this is the golden one. This one has the exact same codes as the face cloth. Okay, so the face cloth and the towel both have the same coding, both have the same instructions. So again, they are such a big help. Love them all. So again, if you want to grab them, make sure you grab them today before I leave so I can send out your orders. I am sending out orders today and tomorrow morning. So make sure you're on that as soon as possible. And that way I can get these out to you before I have that big gap of going into the UK, which is going to be a blast. So I have 24 other people that are going to be joining me in the UK. For the UK tour, I'm going to be recording quite a bit of the experiences that we'll be having. So they'll probably be made into little snippet videos for YouTube later on, and I'll probably be doing some YouTube videos from the UK as well too. But it is the Kundalini and Inner Practices Stonehenge tour. I have waited 3 years to do this. I'm so happy it's here. It's going to be wonderful. And I'm thankful for everybody who's joining me on the tour. I am going to be doing some more tours down the road as well too. So if you missed out on this one, don't worry. There will be some other opportunities. Maybe we'll do one in Bosnia. Maybe we'll do one in Greece. We'll see. We'll just see where the tides bring us. That'll be fantastic. Okay, let's go ahead and get started with one more announcement here. Everything on the New Earth Teachings backup channel is available on Odyssey. So odyssey.com/@NewEarthTeachings. You can check out our backup channel there. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started with today's broadcast. So like I said, it is the Signposts edition of New Earth TV Live today. And hello, everybody. Glad you're all here. So what are we going to be talking about the first part with the Signposts? Well, I'm not too sure if you guys are aware. My girlfriend was actually just showing me this morning, was that there was a UFO hearing that was taking place just yesterday. And they basically spilled the beans on quite a bit of information relating to extraterrestrial disclosure. They were basically admitting that there was flying craft or flying saucers in that sense that was retrieved, and that there are bodies that were retrieved as well too. And they basically referred to it as being completely and totally non-human. And they didn't really hold too much back. I was quite surprised to see this. This was an official UFO hearing. I'm not too sure if it was done by Congress or anything like that. You guys can probably fill me in. I was just seeing snippets of it. But it was basically a UFO hearing that was taking place yesterday. So we're basically starting off with some very bright, chipper news. And what we're going to do is we're going to look into the tarot, and we're just going to see the momentum of where this is going to take us, because my feeling is with this UFO hearing that's taken place that we're going to see maybe a lot more technology that's going to be reverse engineered. I've also made I've also had sharings in the past relating to the TR3Bs, the triangular craft, right? And that in time this is going to be a lot more publicly available. That they may start to reverse engineer craft when they pretty much have already done that, but they'll reverse engineer it for the public, right? So we may actually start to see more TR3Bs coming out that may represent new revolutionary travel conveyances that again can take you across the world in a matter of minutes, or even be orbital, basically going up into space as well too with the TR3Bs. So I think that this is something that may be a prelude into the idea of the TR3Bs altogether. Heather says, I have yet to see a craft. Oh, I've seen them. I've basically seen them as kind of like starcraft, right? Just kind of like the idea that they look like stars. Yeah, I've had quite a few experiences with extraterrestrial, interplanetary conveyances. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the UFO hearing that took place through the tarot here, and just getting the idea of the momentum about where this is going to be going. So let's see exactly what we get here regarding that question, regarding the UFO hearing that took place yesterday. What is the momentum of energies moving forward pertaining to this, and where things are going to be going now that this has been divulged and revealed? We pretty much have already had an official capacity where extraterrestrial disclosure has been admitted. That's amazing. That's wonderful. We certainly have had it in the past, often with documentation, but through this UFO hearing that took place yesterday, that's basically letting you guys know, yeah, there's intelligent life, there's extraterrestrials. Yeah, we don't really refer to them as extraterrestrials, we refer to them as non-humans, but yes, there were spacecraft that was recovered. There were bodies, biological bodies that were recovered. We refer to them as non-human, etc., etc. And it was this very big official briefing that took place. Guys, for those of you who have waited for extraterrestrial disclosure, there it is. You've just seen it. Okay? Now it's going to expand a lot more in that way. And this is again what we're going to be doing a reading on. So where is this going to take us in regards to this UFO hearing that took place and extraterrestrial disclosure? What is ahead for us? So let's take a look at that. Through that very big benchmark of a UFO hearing, where is this going to be taking us? All right, so we got kind of a mixture of things here. So we basically have the Page of Wands, which represents the current, okay? So this is something that is just beginning. It's a new horizon, it's a new idea, it's something that's going to spark imagination, it's something that's going to spark just a greater expanse relating to this idea of disclosure, right? So, oh my goodness, we're not alone in the universe. There were other beings. They call them non-humans, right? A lot of the people on the panel were basically trying to call them extraterrestrials. The man who was trying to do commentary regarding their findings always referred to them as non-humans, right? But that's basically ETs as they refer to it. So this is opening up the gates. This is opening up something brand new. This is triggering new innovations. This, again, is representing a state of new maturity, something new that is going to be coming together. It's the wands. It's representing the fire energy, right? It's the page. It's kind of like the small kid. It's like, all right, well, humanity is now going to start growing up and realizing that we're going to become starbound here very quick. It's exactly what Adronis has been saying, right? Especially around the time of 2023, that you would see a lot more information about extraterrestrials. He called that. There is an Adronis prediction that has come to life. He talked about this around the time of around your summer, early fall, you will hear more about extraterrestrial disclosure, and there will be a certain reveal that will open up your minds to the capability of realizing that there is much more to the universe than just yourselves here on the earth. There's an Adronis prediction that just came to life, guys. He called it. Just like that. Summer 2023. We're going to hear a lot more about extraterrestrial disclosure. There is going to be some type of reveal, and that there is going to be a greater expansion relating to the nature of extraterrestrials on the planet. Fantastic. Okay, so that is the current card. Here is the situational card. This is what's really going to propel humanity forward. Oh my God, we've had non-human visitors, we've had extraterrestrials, we've had off-worlders here, and now it's becoming official. Like I said, for a lot of us who have been doing this work for years, it's kind of a mediocre announcement. But for people who have never heard of this before, it's groundbreaking. It's earth-shattering. Okay, they have just basically came out and openly admitted, yes, we've recovered extraterrestrial spacecraft, and yes, we've recovered bodies of non-human ETs. All right, so this is again a great strengthening. People are not panicking. They're not getting their guns out, ready to shoot down spacecraft or anything like that, as we have been programmed to believe for so many decades. No, if we bring this out to the public, they're going to be screaming. They're going to be running for the hills. They're going to be pulling out their guns and trying to shoot to anything that they can see. No, there's none of that stupidness, right? And the whole idea is that this is really going to be met with intrigue. This is going to be met with innovation. This is going to bring about a greater strengthening of invention towards the human race, unlike anything we've seen before. This is going to reveal large technology. Right, this large technology can be anything from working together with clean energy, again, working with new forms of transportation as well too. It is going to be phenomenal. So it has definitely been a very strong, emotional, intuitive transformation that's taking place. We're looking at something very precious here. And that's basically what's happened. It's been something that's been hidden behind the scenes, but now we're kind of witnessing this. We're witnessing this new innovation, this new opportunity for great growth. That will also represent the idea of making contact down the road. Okay, this feels like it's almost right completely on the level of Adronis's schedule, where he talks about this. Right, within the next few years, you're going to see this grow a lot more. You're going to see this expand to a greater degree. This again is opening up the gates. It's kind of like we're just, oh my God, this is really true. This is really happening. Right. So we got the King of Cups here. This is all about emotions. So there's definitely an emotional excitement here. There's something very fantastic that is going to be coming together here. But of course, in the near future, there may be people in that sense that are maybe angry, maybe upset, and saying, how long has this been kept from us, right? How long has this been in the in behind the scenes, right? Where's all this money coming from for all these secret projects? Where has it been coming from, right? So there's probably going to be some turmoil relating to a lot of government agencies that have been funded by these things secretly, right? A lot of this stuff is coming out. And this is what I talk about relating to the thinning of the veil. And I'm going to be talking about that here very shortly too, about the thinning of the veil, because that's another thing I want to talk about today through the signposts. Because what the signposts are also saying is the veil is so thin right now, you're going to see a phenomenon that's going to blow your mind. Okay, so this is also letting you know that there's intrigue, there's excitement about it, but there's also that feeling of being upset at the same time. Like, where did all this money come from to invest in these projects? Where did all this funding come from, right? And that's going to open some can of worms for people. So there's going to be some investigating into this a lot more thoroughly, because it looks like a lot of these secret dark projects are now coming into the light. And there's going to be a lot of investigation, there's going to be a lot of inquiry about that, and so it's going to lead into something really overall something profound. That's what we're seeing here, right? So there's going to be some investigation, but this investigation is going to lead into something extremely promising, extremely life-changing, something that is going to shift the technological innovation on our planet. It's going to excite the wonder of realizing, oh my God, humanity has never been alone. Like I said, for a lot of you guys, I'm sure you're very much like me. You've done your extraterrestrial research, your off-worlder research. For us, this is like, oh, come on, it's like common news. Okay, yes, and that's true. But for people, and unfortunately the majority of people on the planet, this is mind-blowing. This is so incredibly expansive. They just heard, through an official capacity, through the nature of a hearing, that extraterrestrial civilizations exist. And this is exactly when it happened. July of 2023, right? Very much like what Adronis would say would happen. So this summer, you're going to have a lot more extraterrestrial disclosure coming about, right? So here we go. And he nailed it. So awesome. This is really great news, guys. This is something that's going to be innovative. This is something that's going to be very, very powerful. This is going to be very promising. Like I said, it's going to have some can of worms opening up as well too, but they need to be opened up because a lot of these dark projects are going to be looked at thoroughly and discovered a lot more about how they got this funding, how there's more embezzlement coming together, and it's going to open up a new thing, right? So again, a lot of people are concerned about the nature of, what we're being exposed to right now pertaining to trafficking, right? Human trafficking, child trafficking. By the way, if you guys haven't seen The Sound of Freedom, you should be seeing that movie, okay? I saw it on opening night when it came out here in Canada. It is phenomenal, and it is making such a movement right now that it's going to basically turn Hollywood upside down. That is another signpost, okay? The entire elitist Hollywood, which has pretty much already been dissected for the past couple of years, is now going to be brought out into full capacity. Oh yeah, we're going to be looking into these pedos and so forth. But guys, that's been happening since 2020. You see what I mean by the mainstream media? All these things have already happened, and they're acting like it's just happening right now. They're acting like Hollywood hasn't even been touched as a result pertaining to the P word, right? But it has. It has been for quite some time. This is why I say everything you hear in the mainstream media is not real. It's everything that represents something that has been done. So I've been talking about this since 2020. I've heard from people as well too. It says, yeah, Hollywood's being cleaned up right now. They're basically arresting a lot of these P guys, right? The P word. They've been arresting a lot of them. It's been cleaned up. In fact, if you walked around Hollywood, it would be like a ghost town, right? There's like nobody there. And that's all part of this big cleanup that's been happening for about the past 3 years at least. So this is what I mean. There's all this stuff that's already happening. A lot of it has been sanitized, especially if you guys watch the Academy Awards, right? Going back in the past couple of years of how stingy it has gotten, how less of an amount of people there are, right? Because it's already been cleaned up. It's already basically had a great deal of cleanup. There's still more cleanup to do, but a lot of this has already been tackled. This is why I say everything you see in the mainstream media is like the tortoise and the hare analogy, right? The hare representing it's already spun out, it's already done a lot of this stuff, and now that they've cleaned everything up, now we'll make it into a story. We'll make it like it's just happening, but it's already been happening for the past couple of years, okay? So this is how they work. This is how it is. This is why the media is absolutely fake, and basically we'll just start to throw these stories like they're just happening, but they've been happening for quite a bit of time. All right. So as I was talking about earlier, about the nature of the thinning of the veils. Okay. Now this happened, I think, a couple of weeks ago. There was a story in regards to a woman who was on an American Airlines flight, and she was basically panicking. And she basically was sitting around the near end of the plane. She was getting up, and she was basically telling this guy to stop it. And then she would panic so much. I don't have the video on me, but you guys can look it up. Right, you can look at woman American Airlines panic or something of that nature. And she's getting up and she's saying, I got to get off this plane. I don't want to stay here. And I don't care if you guys believe me or not, but that mother effer back there is not real. Okay, that's basically what she said. Some people were arguing about the idea, just because he took her earbuds. He took her earbuds off of her, and that's why she was freaking out. Don't be ridiculous. Right? This has nothing to do with earbuds. Okay, so basically, when you can look in the video at how scared she is, how absolutely terrified she is. Do you think you would be terrified if somebody or whether they intentionally or accidentally grabbed your earbuds, and you're going to be terrified about that? No. If anything, she'd probably want to punch him or something like that. But that's not what happened. She basically had this fear in her heart about seeing something that was completely unnatural. Now, some people are speculating what that represents. Is this man a shapeshifter? Is he a hologram? Right? Was he a reptilian in disguise or anything of that nature? This would all be open to conjecture. But the whole idea is there were two other incidences on other airlines that were basically around that time frame, where there was an Australian man who was also getting freaked out by a certain occurrence on the plane as well too, relating to another person. There was a person in that sense who was also getting freaked out on a plane and basically was trying to open an emergency door while the plane was in mid-flight, right? And these happened on different continents. And they all happened pretty close to each other as well too. So what's going on, guys? The veil is thinning, okay? I have made a video as well too when I was in Mount Shasta with my girlfriend Brienne, right? We were in the backyard and I was basically putting source vibration into a tree. And after doing that for about a minute or two, Brianna and I both heard this gasp. It wasn't a gasp, it was more like a shriek. It was like a right? It was the most inhuman sound I have ever heard in my life. And it just basically sounded like a demonic, right? We were basically trying to see if actually something was going to come out that was making that sound. Nothing ever came out. This was in the backyard of an Airbnb that Brianna and I were staying at in Mount Shasta. And she was at the edge of the fence, so there's the fence that would cut in between the other yard. There was kind of like a really dark, dilapidated, I think, kind of shed or barn that was on the other side of the house, and I was up by the deck. And again, because I was putting source vibration directly into the tree, because I wanted to harmonize the space because it had very strong mixtures of harmonious and chaotic energy. And about a minute or two after I did that, we heard that shriek. And that shriek was the most inhuman thing I've ever heard in my life. It was so unbelievably inhuman. We were pretty freaked out about that. So what the hell was that? So it's not a dog. Don't think that's a Sasquatch. No, Sasquatches don't make shrieks. They howl, right? They go, oh, like that a bit. But they won't make something like that. And it's a lot more of a deeper, bass, guttural kind of howl that they make, the Sasquatches. So this was something else. This basically sounded like a demonic, right? And there was some other footage that I would see online as well, too, about people going into like these dark tunnels, and they hear something, and they say, hello, is anyone there? And I heard the exact same shriek. The exact same shriek that this guy, who was going through like a dark tunnel, I don't even know where he was. I don't know why you would want to go into a dark tunnel. But he was basically there. There was like graffiti all over the tunnels. It looked very ominous. And you just heard like footsteps or something moving around. And he said, hello, is anyone there? I was like, right? And he said that same sound. Oh my God, that's exactly what we heard in Mount Shasta, right? So what I'm getting at is that the veils are thinning. This is another Adrona's prediction that's coming to life. What he basically said was that the veils are going to thin so much that the phenomena that you think was originally hidden is going to be brought out into plain sight, which means you may start to see other dimensions. You may start to see creatures that are basically trying to keep themselves in disguise. You can commonly refer to them as shapeshifters. You may see, again, other extra-dimensional humans coming together, maybe wearing very strange things or just acting out of sorts altogether. The veil is thinning so much that you're going to see exactly how Earth itself is extra-dimensional. How you're going to see all of these different things that are just appearing and then disappearing, things that are appearing and disappearing, appearing and vanishing. Okay, a lot of that has to do with dream experiences, basically as I would refer to as dreamcasters. Basically, in that sense, we can have people on the planet who can manifest a dream body, basically walking just on the street, just appearing out of nowhere, walk, and then they disappear again. Okay, it's the same thing with animals. Animals has happened. This is all part of the idea of the Earth's veil, right? Its ether is getting a lot more lower. If we have a high ether, that represents there's a lot of thickness, there's a lot of fog there. A lot of things are contained and everything seems a lot more linear in that way. Space-time linearity. But as the veil is thinning and the ether is lowering, you're now going to start seeing all of this extra dimensional phenomena that is going to blow your mind, right? It's this again is why I'm seeing a lot of these people on airlines, right? Just sitting next to this person, and maybe they shapeshift, maybe they glitch, right? Maybe you see that they're a little bit reptilian, whatever it may be, and they get freaked out of their mind, and that would be one of the reasons why that woman was panicking the way she was not involving earbuds. So again, just certain things like that as well too. Right? So these are some of the stories I wanted to talk about first before we get into some of the questions altogether. Like I said, it's a little bit more of a chipper news, right? It's not about the idea of doom and gloom. You guys know that I'm not that kind of person that goes into doom and gloom. And even if it is a dreadful situation, I basically talk about how we get out of that situation, right? And maybe that's why Spirit wants me to continue to do current events with you guys, because maybe just the way I put it inspires you guys. So if that's what I do, then that's great. I'll continue to do that. So I'm kind of lightening up in regards to the current events, because I thought that, okay, once I get out of this, I don't think I need to go back to it. And I've had people leaving my channel because I'm not doing current events, but I think I am going to be going back into it. So we'll see how things go. Anyways, guys, let's go ahead and open the channel now for Q&A. So if you guys do have any questions, I see that there are some donations on the chat, so we'll go to the donation-based questions first. And if you guys have some questions, what I'll be doing is either doing one of two things, either number one, looking at it through tarot, or number two, tuning into the situation through vibrational wavelength, which is why I have a neutral pendulum here, which I'll explain here very shortly. So let's go into Gijo. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing your name right. Maybe I'll just call you Matthew, just in case I get your Gijo name wrong. So this one is for Adronis. So yes, Adronis is available. If you guys do want to ask him a question, I can bring him through as well too. So Gijo says, Dear Adronis, can you please speak about the vaults in the Padman Bas... I can't even pronounce that, Gijo. So let me just... I have to do a quick Google check because I've never heard of that name and I don't even know how to pronounce it. So let me just take a minute to see if I can pull that up. So the Padman Baswami, I guess that's what it's called. The temple, so it's a temple. Okay, I've never heard of this temple, so you have to kind of give me a minute so I can just kind of look it up and see what it represents. Okay, so the riches and mysteries of the Sri Padman Baswami Temple. Okay, 108 temples in India dedicated to Lord Vishnu. Okay, so that's giving me a little bit of a background on this, as I've never heard of that particular temple before. Okay, now, Matthew, we have to be very careful with these questions, okay? There's a reason why these things are basically kept in vaults, right, so that they are not being known. But what Adronis can do is he may give you a little bit of hints and tidbits of what may be contained inside those particular temples, but there's a reason why this needs to be kept in secrecy. If we start blurting these things out, there can be problems, okay? And I've seen it. So we kind of have to tiptoe around this a little bit, right? So I have no problem bringing Adronis through, talking about the Padmana Baswami temple in India that is in honor to Lord Vishnu, okay? And specifically about Vault B, okay? So we'll take a look at that. Again, I can't promise that we're going to get a big reveal about that, okay? There's a reason why things need to be kept secret and to be revealed at a proper time. But we'll see what we can get through hints and tidbits of this. Guys, with questions like this, you just need to be careful, okay? I don't want to put any of you guys in danger because that does happen, okay? Especially if we're in a public forum like this and I'm broadcasting on YouTube and there's hundreds of people watching me because there's going to be thousands more when the recording comes out and something's being revealed that shouldn't, not only could I get in trouble, the person who asked the question can get in trouble, okay? So please be aware of that. So again, Adronis knows how to sanitize it very well. So I'll go ahead and take a moment and bring him in and we'll look into the Padmana Baswami Temple above Vault B. All right, let's go. Tera Soul Star We thank you very much for the opportunity of this interaction, and we say hello to Matthew. We thank you for this interaction today. We will elaborate a little bit further in regards to the idea of the specific temple that you have named, representing, again, secret hidden vaults. Now, these basically represent preservations. There are preservations of ancient times. There are preservations of ancient relics. There are preservations of ancient technology that basically assist in improving the longevity of your being. A lot of this was given from, in the way that we'll use to this analogy, given to humans by the gods. So a lot of these ancient relics that have been preserved throughout a great deal of time have been locked away in these particular vaults, and therefore there needs to be those that have, as you would say, a very high authority to even access it. Now, many of these particular ancient forms of relics and ancient technologies designed to preserve longevity throughout the body don't even know how to be accessed properly, because it represents a certain vibrational significance, and they are still working together in discovering how to operate many of these ancient relics that they have received. So this basically, as you would say, would represent a temple dedicated to Lord Vishnu. So it represents a celestial significance here, and that through these particular vaults there are certain technologies that represent these ancient relics that many of your modern scholars have not been able to discover how to operate, because it operates on a much more advanced sophistication on a vibratory level. This is why they have been kept together in vaults. So we cannot tell you specificities of what they represent, other than the idea that they represent vibratory technology going back approximately 30, 40, 50, even up to 75,000 years of your history. All right? That is what we can reveal. That would represent a sanitation pertaining to this effect. We thank you very much for your question. Okay, that was perfect. Nice sanitation there. So Matthew, it's a great question. I just don't want to put you in danger. I don't want to put anybody else in danger. But again, that sounds very interesting. So some ancient technology hidden there in the vaults. Thank you very much for your question, Matthew. Okay, let's go through the chat. So again, guys, if you do have any priority questions, you can feel free just to leave a donation in the chat, and I will go to you. Let's see here. Okay, here's one here from A Believer. A Believer asks, what is happening in Northern Ireland at the minute? Okay, so I think what we're going to do is we're going to tune into that. So this is what I was talking about, is I have this neutral pendulum here, spherical pendulum. It's made out of acrylic, okay? And I'm going to be tuning into Ireland. Now, again, it's kind of a vague question because there's quite a bit. I had to see how this question was. That your girlfriend in the advertisement? No. My girlfriend's too shy to be on video of this particular capacity. She does have videos, but it's not. She doesn't talk in them, for one. She plays beautiful singing bowls, and it's pretty. You can find her on TikTok, actually. It's Trinity Soul Healing. That's my girlfriend's channel on TikTok. Anyways, it's good because she'll get more followers. So if you want to check that out. But no, that's not her. That's another person. That's a person who I was able to contribute a bed to because she was interested in helping out Etherics, right? So she was kind enough to make that video of the bed that she received, and it turned out really well. But no, that is not her at all. Anyways, let's go back to the question here. With A Believer, what is happening in Northern Ireland at the minute? So like I said, it's kind of a vague question, but we'll see what we can get here. Just as I start to do resonant dowsing, to look a little bit more into that. Okay. Don't worry about what I'm doing, guys. I'll have to explain that to you at another time. Okay. Okay, so I'm just going to tune into Ireland right now. There is a massive sweeping away of the old guard. Now, I have talked about the nature of Ireland before, but there is a very large contingency in regards to shifting away of the old guard altogether. Now, basically what that means is that there's going to be some very unpleasant disclosures coming together, and there's still an attempt representing very, very intense control-based procedures and policies, right? They're trying to hold their line as much as possible, but there's a lot of exposures that are happening behind closed doors. There's arrests going on. There's tribunals that are looking to happen. Okay, so there's basically a very large internal takedown taking place not only around Ireland, but pretty much the entire British Isles. Okay, they are basically being infiltrated. They're being taken out. A lot of these dark forces capacities are being taken out, and there's going to be some significant changes in leadership, especially as we start to move towards the fall time this year. I don't know if it's going to be conveyed in the public, but again, there's a lot of you could say a lot of scandalous situations that are taking place within Ireland right now. And like I said, there's been a whole line of trying to enforce a lot of these ridiculous orders and procedures and bylaws relating to, again, I guess the best way is totalitarianism mentalities. So a lot of these old politicians are basically being swept away, right? So I'm pretty sure they're going to be using doppelgangers to be put in their place in the meantime. But Ireland has basically been cleansed, right? The entire British Isles are being cleansed, okay? Which is funny because I'm going to UK tomorrow. So anyways, this is exactly what's happening. Because like I said, I'm not too sure of the specificity of your question, a believer, regarding to Northern Ireland, okay? But this is not just something that's affecting Northern Ireland. This is affecting the entire island, okay? So everything is basically, it's kind of like there's a very dark underground in Ireland, okay? Ireland has a very seedy, deep underground that has been happening there. And there's all kinds of criminal activity that's been happening there. And there's been a lot of cleaning out of that. There's dirty politicians, of course, as we know. And there's a cleaning going on there as well, too, right? But there's always been these attempts at trying to push these heavy policies and trying to push all of these rules and laws to try and save the necks of the ones that are basically being pulled out and about to be apprehended and about to be trialed. And if these guys basically fall, then of course a lot of the dark forces, what they do is they try to get doppelgangers in their place, which is probably what is happening already. That's kind of the feeling I'm getting. But there's also a very seedy, deep, disturbing underground that's relating to Ireland, that's relating to Scotland, of course, particularly England as well too. But that entire island is being cleansed, right? It's an entirely nasty bit of business that's going on there. So there's a cleansing going on, absolutely. It's still going through a transitional cycle, but I think we're going to see some significant changes taking place here as we come into the fall time. I don't know if that's going to be publicly revealed, but there's definitely going to be a lot of significant and conclusions pertaining to cleanup before there's a reveal that takes place. It's exactly how the mainstream media works, guys. Everything that you've been told that's happening has already happened. It's all been sanitized, it's all been taken care of, and then the media will spin it like it's something that's just happening. Okay, this is why I say you don't really believe anything that what you're hearing on MSN. Okay, none of it's real. It's all sanitized gunk, and pretty much all the cleanup that has taken place happened quite some time ago, and they're just revealing it as if it's something new, and it's not. Okay, MSM is always again that slow turtle that's coming in. Oh, okay, this has happened. So this is something that happened a couple years ago. There's enough containment there. There's enough sanitation there, so let's write the scripts and blah, 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 blah. And then they start revealing it, okay? But right now, there currently is a takedown. There's an internal cleansing of the entire island altogether, right? So there's a very large sanitation taking place, okay? So I believe that that's what I can say based on the vague question. A lot of cleanup happening. That's very good. It's going to be something that's going to be extremely beneficial in the long run here. Okay, let's go down the list here a bit more. Thank you for your question. Let's go down a bit more. Okay, so this one here is from Mihail. Mihail says, question, what energy does the new movie Sound of Freedom represent? Okay, so what is the energy? So why don't we look into the tarot like that? I'm kind of like playing a roulette here between the tarot, the resonant dowsing, and Adronis. So I think we'll use the tarot for this one. Sound of Freedom, movie represent. What does it represent? What's the energy of it? What is it doing? What is it helping to accomplish here on the earth? And I got the $10 donation. I'll get to that here in just a minute. Thank you for the one who provided that. Okay, so let's take a look. The Sound of Freedom movie, the energy ahead, the momentum for it. Like I said, I did see the movie. It's fantastic. It's very well done. It's very tastefully done as well, too. All right. Well, like I said, this is more for the public's sake, okay? Because there has been a battle going on for quite some time involving the P word, right? So I'll just refer to them as the P files. I think that's a better word. We'll refer to them as the P files. So basically, this is exactly what's been happening for quite some time, okay? So this is opening up a big can of worms. Okay, this is basically going to shock people right to their core. And there's quite a few people I've heard who say, well, have you gone and seen The Sound of Freedom? No, I'm too scared to see that movie. You know, I have children, and if I see that movie, I'm going to be terrified. Okay, that's completely understandable. But nonetheless, this is a wave that is taking the world by storm, okay? This is going to change the complete and total scope of how we see entertainment. Entertainment is now going to be completely renewed. It's going to be completely transformed. It's going to take a new form. That industry itself is going to completely change. Everything that represents any particular type of agenda that's trying to promote as if the idea that P-philism is okay is going to be met with very, very hard retaliation, okay? This can basically represent the idea of the demonic agenda surrounding that. It has been slain, it has been slaughtered, and it's been like that for a while. Like I said, this is not something new that's coming about. The Sound of Freedom basically is a movie that's 4 or 5 years old, right? It's been sitting in the wings for several years because it was buried. We can't show this because the ones that were trying to show it basically were part of the entire agenda. So they can't show that to expose themselves. This is exactly why it sat in the wings. And then not too long ago, Angel Studios, who created The Chosen, which I also watched, it's fantastic, bought the rights to it so that they could show it, right? And they basically did a campaign for 2 million tickets, and they had a certain select amount of theaters where you can go and see The Sound of Freedom. And it's done really well. It beat Indiana Jones in the opening weekend. Fantastic, because the new Indiana Jones looks very stupid. I saw the trailer of it. I don't even know if I'm going to waste my time watching that movie. But basically, this is showing that there has been something that has been kept secret for a very, very long time, where now the doors are starting to open. 2023 certainly represents this time of reset. As I've talked about, 2023 represents reset. What does that mean? Everything that's been hidden is now going to open up, right? So we've seen that with extraterrestrial disclosure. We're now starting to see that with pedophilia, okay? We're going to see that with a lot more things to come as well, too, okay? Relating to politician exposure, celebrity exposure, everything, okay? We are moving past any particular agenda that they're trying to shove down the throat, trying to normalize the pedophilia, okay? It's exactly what they've been trying to do. What is it? I'm not sure what the codes they've been trying to use, the new wording that they're trying to say. Oh, it's a minor's affection or something like that. It's a minor affected person. I don't even know what they call it. It's so stupid. But we're moving away from all this, and there's going to be significant retaliation. Not only is a lot of, I guess you could say, celebrities with a conscience going to be coming out and exposing everything. People are going to be behind those celebrities like crazy. Mel Gibson is one of them. Mark Wahlberg is another one. Of course, we have Jim Caviezel. I think Jamie Foxx is going to be another one. Ice Cube is another one, right? So there's a lot of them that are going to be coming out and basically just leading a front. And it's going to be the complete and total dismantling of Hollywood as we know it. It's going to be overhauled. It's not going to be completely torn down, but like everything that's happening, something gets infiltrated, it gets rebuilt from inside, and then there's an overhaul that takes place. And that's exactly what Hollywood is going to be about. It is going to be more about disclosure movies. Those are going to be the movies that sell in the future. Is when there's much more talk about disclosure, when there's much more talk about a lot of these things that have been kept under our noses, that is the in thing to do. It's not these stupid Marvel movies or comic book hero movies that are so unbelievably stale. It's like, okay, this is just a CGI sandwich, right? I'm just eating a CGI sandwich, right? Oh, look, this is the fire around the person. Blah, blah, blah. It's gotten so stale and so old and so boring and so ridiculous. It's completely on the way out, right? So again, we're moving into new ground. We're moving forward. We're taking action upon this, right? This is also representing an action card. This represents fire, okay? So the Knight of Wands, we're traveling in a new direction. We're seeing something unfold that is going to be completely changing the industry, right? And if those studios that do not wish to change keep trying to bring out their crappy stuff, no one's going to watch it, and they're probably going to go bankrupt. Right? So that's basically what's happening altogether. The energy that Sound of Freedom has done is it has kicked open a new door, and everything representing Hollywood is going to plummet, and it's going to be basically a new type of Hollywood that's going to come about. That's basically going to be sharing a lot of based on actual event movies that show, again, a lot of disclosure. Wouldn't surprise me if there's an extraterrestrial disclosure movie coming up pretty soon too. Okay, so that's basically what it's doing. It's refastening Hollywood into something brand new. All right, so let me go to that $10 donation, see if I can find it here. This is from Big D. Okay, so Big D says, will there be a massive market crash within the next 2 weeks? No. Okay, I don't even have to look at it, Big D. I can already feel the energies right now with it. No. Okay. It is basically still in a state of fluctuation. I do not see anything in regards to a very large market crash or anything of that nature, or stock market crash. There are people talking about it being a very intense summer, right? As we get into the month of August, there may be some shakeups pertaining to the market. Shakeups, yes, but a crash, no. Okay, so let me just take a moment here, because I'm going to even just look into the markets right now. No, it's going to stay afloat. Okay, there will be certain things, there will be certain flow. The market's so complicated, I can't really summarize it in simple words, guys. Okay, but the whole idea of the market is that it is going to be staying afloat. Okay, there will be certain shifts taking place. There's some people who have asked me about silver. Should I invest in silver? If anything, that is something you should probably invest in the most. Okay, but invest in it in money that you're not afraid to lose. Okay, don't just take out your life fortune and start putting it into silver and gold or anything else, or crypto or anything of that nature. If you're going to invest in money that you're not afraid to lose. Okay, but basically, if I'm looking into the nature of silver right now, okay, it is going to be steady for a bit of time, but it is going to hit a decline, maybe as we get closer to the end of the year. Okay, just in regards to a slight decline of its value. And silver is kind of like a yo-yo. It bounces back and comes back, and there's times where it hits high times and low times. Okay, right now I feel it's going to be doing pretty good, but around the end of the year it may start to cascade a bit and then come back up again. That's just how the energies are right now. Pertaining to it doesn't mean it's 100% written in stone, but that's kind of the feeling of it. It feels like it's coming up and then it's going to dip, and then it's going to come up and it's going to dip. Okay, so a lot of people are basically investing in silver, so that is certainly a recommendation because that is quite a popular one. But are we experiencing a market crash in the next 2 weeks? No, I'm not getting anything in regards to a major market crash at all. Fluctuations, yes, but a market crash, no. Okay, nothing that would cause anything to plummet altogether. There's actually going to be there's already a lot of work pertaining to the market right now in regards to certain levels of stability. Right? Some people are feeling, well, it needs to be a devastating market crash to where it could barely recover. That wouldn't work, right? That's going to cause severe panic. And my feeling in the past was feeling, okay, maybe there needs to be a big market crash. But I said, no. It's going to come through the transition pertaining to where there will be ups and downs with the market relating to the new financial system, okay? And the new financial system is still up in the air. There's basically what I'm being told is the feeling that some areas of the new financial system have already been integratable with the current system. So it's not a full release yet, but it's a partial release of what's been happening, right? This can be seen with banknotes. This may also be seen with certain levels of digital currency that are looking to come out. This may relate to, again, new banking cartels that are coming together. The overhauling of the central banks as well, too, that are being remade into the new financial system, okay? It's all in a process right now, and it is all partially being rolled out, okay? So Big D, that's what I can say in regards to the markets, all right? Thank you for your question. Okay, I have a question here. I just kind of went up the list, and this one caught my eye. This one here is from Sensei. Sensei says, hi, Brad. Can you ask Adronis the importance of the upcoming 8-8 portal and how we should use this? I get this question every single year. I've been getting this question about the 8-8 portal since 2009. Every single year it hits. And every single year I get a question about it. Okay? But yes, we'll go ahead and we'll take a look at that for the 8-8 portal and how should we use this. Sensei. All right, here we go. We thank you very much, Sensei, for your question regarding the 8-8 portal. Now, basically, when you're looking at the nature of a numerological significant date in this particular way, there's really nothing you need to do with it because the energy of itself speaks for itself. It does not require your permission, or it does not require anything relating to your conscious assistance for it to manifest what it needs to manifest. These, again, are simply gates. Imagine your entire world as a honeycomb. Imagine that there are all of these honey cells that are throughout this honeycomb to where you are standing in the center. Now, there are also other significant numerological dates that basically open up like a floodgate that is bringing about this aroma of sweet energy. While the 8-8 also represents several of these honey cells opening up, delivering this certain level of magnetism to your planet. So in that sense, in regards to its ushering in, it's already begun. You see, the nature in that sense to these portals is that they reach saturation approximately 1 to 2 weeks before the effective numerological significant date. So if you're looking at the nature of the 8th of August, you may actually want to look to around the 1st of August. Or you may want to look around the 24th, 25th, 26th, pertaining to July. Because that is where it is now entering saturation. Saturation comes together. Now, basically where things come together pertaining to the saturation of the magnetism that comes upon your planet, it is through the actions that are committed through the human civilization that effectively brings about the significant level of charge for the particular portal or portals that are opening up to therefore dispel the necessary forms of dense energies that have been brewing from within your underground for a significant amount of time. Therefore, the nature of humanity would represent the, shall we say, spontaneous charge. The friction to basically take that energy and cultivate it to the level to where everything that has been buried heavily throughout your underground, throughout the subterraneans of the planet, can therefore be cultivated, can therefore, in that sense, move into a state of release. So any time that you are looking at any particular numerological dates, this is where you want to not have to feel like you need to help it along because it doesn't require your help, but basically working together to function as a charge so that these particular forms of magnetic energies can take with it discharge of heavy energies that have been cultivated within your underground. Stagnant magnetic congestion. Because what happens is these energies come in and they start brewing together with those magnetic energies, but before those magnetic energies can now start to dissipate into the ether, there requires charges. So the charge that we speak of would come through humanity functioning as that charge. Some of you may want to hold large meditations. Some of you may want to feel like you're giving your entire love to the earth. That represents a significant charge. So as far as the portal goes, there's nothing you need to do. But as far as the energy coming in through that portal, to where that particular magnetism is brewing together with lower magnetism that is taking place, the charge that you produce as a collective creates the surge to bringing that energy back into the ether. That's what you can do. All right? So do not concern about, do I need to open anything with the portal gates? No. Do not concern about how it comes upon the planet. That is beyond your control. But what you can do is you can bring love to this day. You can bring love prior to this happening. And you can continue to bring love 1 to 2 weeks after it has taken place. Because you're again allowing a ripe energy, a ripe magnetism coming together into the earth to help dispel and therefore, shall we say, dissipate the idea of heavy magnetic energies that have been kept within the mantle of your planet that is therefore significantly able to reach discharge through your blessings, through your meditation of love, through the joy that you have in your hearts that is helping to uplift this energy around this significant point as it moves through the hyperboloid back into the essence of the ether. That is what you can do. That would be our suggestion. All right? Thank you for your question. Okay. Great. Thank you very much, Adronis, and thank you, Sensei, for your question. So let's go down the list here a bit more. Let's see if there's any other donations that maybe I've missed. Okay, no, it looks like donations are caught up. Okay, we're going to take still up another 20 to 30 minutes, so we'll probably get about 4 or 5 more questions in. Okay, so there's a good question here from Charmaine Gorman. Charmaine says, "Hi Brad, question. I heard the Deep State played their final card and failed. Are they done?" They are completely done. Yes. They will never, ever rise again. And I've said this before as well, too. They are completely finished. They are completely done. There is no chance of them ever rising to power again. They are too defeated. They are too depleted. Everything that represents a lot of their main plans to basically try to depopulate the earth has failed. There is absolutely no chance whatsoever of them attempting to succeed with the depopulation agenda ever again. They have been completely taken down to size. Right? There's still remnants of them running around, as of course we can see that in mainstream media. We can say that through politicians, right? They still have some form of presence. But like I said, a lot of that is the clown show. A lot of that is sanitized media. And like I said, they're actors. Okay, what's really happening behind the scenes, and I know a lot of people have a hard time swallowing this, but again, from what I'm getting, this is the truth. Okay, is that again, what's happening behind the scenes is that they are dwindling by the numbers. They are frantically panicking, and they even have a lot of their own groups that are turning against each other. It's a dog-eat-dog situation. One person wants their finger in the pie, the other person wanted that spot of the pie at their finger, right? And they fight it out. And so basically they're clashing with each other. Not only are the counter forces being their enemy right now, they are being their own enemy as well too. They're basically clamoring over each other to try and regain some type of power with little power that remains. And they'll go through a dog-eat-dog mentality. They will eat each other. They will fight each other. They will bash each other into the ground to try to hold on to the little fragment of illusionary power that they feel they have left. Not only is the counter forces hunting them down, they're hunting themselves down. Okay, so it is basically just leading into the state of self-implosion. This is exactly what Adronis has said for years, is that they are going to self-implode. Things will get so bad for them that they will just start to eat each other. It will just be like all these wild dogs in a pit. And it's basically that the last one remaining is the one that has a little bit of power left, but then they get taken out by the counter forces. So this is the whole idea, is that there's a no-win situation for them altogether. So like I said, whatever you guys are seeing, whatever you guys are hearing through a lot of the MSM, know that these things there's elements of truth to them, but again, a lot of these things have already been sanitized. And like I said, a lot of this represents a coming-of-age experience here. Is being able to, can I get past this whole idea of what the MSM is spilling that's garbage, right? There's even going to be talks about other viruses coming up, but it's never going to be a lockdown on the planet again, right? A lot of that lockdown also represented a benefit to the counter forces so that they could spend time taking down a lot of these ones that were responsible for bringing about these lockdowns in the first place. So no, I do not see any lockdown happening. I talked about that at the beginning of the year. I've had a couple people who have said, oh, there may be another lockdown. I said, absolutely not. There will not be. Once this has already happened, it's not going to happen again. The same thing, lightning doesn't strike in the same place twice here when it comes to this situation. Okay, so that is not what's going to be happening. Really what's happening right now, like I said, is a dog-eat-dog situation, and you're just going to see more and more of the stuff crumble. I mean, guys, for us to have a UFO hearing yesterday and have all of that information being shared publicly, that's astounding, right? And like I said, Adronis called that this would be happening somewhere around the summer, but there would be a lot more revealing pertaining to the extraterrestrial presence, and here it is. Right? So that is truly phenomenal itself, and that is going to open so many doors to something huge relating to technological advancement, even to space travel, new technologies for energy. All of it is going to start coming together. Like I said, it wouldn't surprise me over the next couple of years where we start seeing the unveiling of TR-3Bs. Okay? So again, a lot of things are unfolding here. The veil is so thin right now. And basically, for the idea of a dark force to thrive, the ether needs to be up higher, which when I say the ether needs to be up higher, that's representing a greater fog. The fog is thick when the ether is up. The fog is thinning when the ether is down, and the ether is compressing itself down. Okay? And I'm using that more in the form of an analogy, but that's basically what's happening, is that we're seeing the veils that have once represented a clandestine fold upon the planet is now starting to dissipate. It's thinning away. It's like a Swiss cheese. It's just getting thinner and thinner, and there are holes in the veil. And this is why people are starting to see all this form of phenomenology around the planet. This is why people feel like they're going insane, because so much is happening. There's so much phenomena taking place upon the planet. that is happening that people can't explain, people appearing and people disappearing, people seeing cities in the sky, different forms of dimensional loops coming together, different forms of dimensional planes intersecting together with our own, people ship-shifting, people glitching, right? Seeing reptilians, seeing different forms of extra-dimensionals coming forward, revealing extraterrestrial disclosure. It's it's a party, what can I say? Okay? But a lot of people don't like this party because it's so damn intense. But it really is. And I had an interview not too long ago as well too. And the woman who was interviewing me on the podcast was saying, Brad, if you could change anything that you would on the planet, what would you change? And I said, absolutely nothing, because everything's already changing. Right? And that's really where I stand, is that everything that needs to happen right now needs to happen. Because this is all part of greater change that's going to lead humanity into a much more prosperous era. We're going through the sludge. We're basically sludging through this tunnel right now, but we're seeing the light, right? And some people want to give up and collapse. And I said, well, because you're trying too hard, right? You're putting all of this emotional amplification upon yourself, and it's draining you. Just let whatever needs to happen, and stand in your power, stand in your love, stand in your light, right? That's what you need to do. And that is how you're going to bring about a significant transformation within your life, where you're going to get clarity, right? Stay with your soul tribes, work together with them. And I've said that many times already, all right? So Charmaine, thank you very much for your question. It's a good one. Okay, let's go down the list here a bit more. Heather says, I'm surprised the Cabal allowed the movie to be released. I've read the only reason is to put parents in fear, so they would ship their kid. Well, what you hear from the grapevine doesn't mean it's true, okay? It's simply time. Heather, the best way I can put it is that the veils have thinned to a degree. Do you guys think that extraterrestrial disclosure would happen yesterday? Because that's exactly what's happened. It happened yesterday, guys. And this is something that people have been wanting for decades. And here it was yesterday through a UFO hearing. In official capacity, right? Politicians present, everything. And there's official capacity. And this guy spilled the friggin' beans. This happened yesterday. Okay? That is letting you know how low the ether is. That is letting you know how thin the veils are. You guys are going to be shocked out of your boots when you start seeing more of what's ahead of what's going to be okay to be revealed now. The reason why a lot of these things are being okay to be revealed is that they don't have the gatekeepers around them anymore. Those gatekeepers have been taken out. And so basically it's kind of like a free-for-all. Okay, now it's time to reveal extraterrestrial disclosure to the people, right? Let's hold a UFO hearing. Let's do it. And here's official capacity to when it's happening. And here it happens. Okay? Let's let the sound of freedom come together. Why do you think that is, guys? Because what I've been telling you for the past 3 years of time is that the counter forces are in charge. Okay? And that's exactly why it's happening. You have counter forces in charge, you're going to have counter force based information that's going to share. Here's extraterrestrial disclosure. Let's bring out the sound of freedom. Let's completely expose the entire P-file agenda. Right? Let's expose Hollywood. Let's expose these celebrities. Right? Let's expose this extra-dimensional phenomenon that's coming together. Let's give about greater secrets to the earth that can now be revealed. Let's move into new degrees of science. Let's work more with the vibrational science rather than the shoddy quantum science garbage that we've been fed. Right? To start working together with the unfathomable scale of the universe rather than these quantum general relativity cult members trying to quantify everything, thinking that that's how the universe works when they're not even close. Okay? Moving into vibrational science. Guys, this is what I'm doing right here. Vibrational science. Okay? This is exactly what Etherics is. Vibrational science. Okay? So we're going to see more and more technology. We're going to see more innovations. We're going to see more movement towards vibrational science, not quantum science. Okay? It's a bunch of garbage. Quantum science is just something that you can quantify, right? It is a quantification. You can quantify this, I can quantify. Yeah, basically what you're doing is you're taking the infinite and you're trying to put it into a box, like a fool, right? The true science is the vibrational science. It is the consciousness science. It is where Nikola Tesla led the planet. That's vibrational science, okay? And that is the science that's going to be coming about. So again, there's going to be very significant changes between now and especially over the next couple of years. We're going to see some more breakthrough, guys. This is just the beginning. You see how exciting things are getting now? We're starting to get closer to that light at the end of the tunnel. That's how exciting this is. Okay. Let's go down the... let's do a bit more. All right. A little bit further down. There's quite a lot of activity here on the chat, so I'm just kind of reading through things in case I miss anything. Okay. Okay, this is just a question in regards to some of the free samples that are up on Etherics. So if you go to etherics.co, you can go to free samples page. You'll find some free samples there you can download, especially for the new people who are so, oh, okay, this is kind of interesting, but how do I know this works? Download the free samples, right? Try it for yourself. So Jan is asking the question about a free sample. It says, hi Brad, can I place the solar plexus energizer free sample symbol in a plastic transparent protection sheet? I ask this because plastic is not conductor. Conduction does not need to be done through spirit codes. Okay, guys, you have to remember, here's the truth, and I'm going to get to your answer to your question here in a second, Jan. How many elements are in the universe? And I can just hear some of you, oh, my brother's 5. Wrong. You're wrong. Our brother's only 4. Wrong. Our brother's only 3. Wrong. Brother's only 2. Wrong. There's only 1. There is only one element that exists, and that element is the ether. Okay? Everything that we know as fire, air, water, and earth are not the true elements. They are sub-elements. Okay? You would refer to them as the material elements. They are not above the ether. The ether is the one true element. There are not 5. Now, I know we've been taught that throughout many ancient circles, many ancient foundations, ancient science, etc. To a degree, they have some correctness. Okay? But can fire burn the ether? No, it can't. Can water saturate the ether? No, it can't. Can earth bury the ether? No. Can the air blow the ether away? No. So none of those are true elements. Those are material elements. Those are sub-elements. The one element that is ether. Guys, what you are seeing through here is the one element. Okay? Here is a material thing. Okay? I could put 20 sheets of plastic all together. Is that going to affect the ether? No. Okay? I could put 100 sheets of plastic over that. Is that going to affect the ether? No, because as I said, there is only one element that exists, and that is the ether. The ether is the only one. Everything that represents the material elements are possible because of the ether, because of magnetism. Okay? Magnetism is what makes up all physical form in the universe. It represents a low pressure gradient that is in capacity and in harmony together with the dielectric field. The dielectric being that of cosmic prana. You have 2 different types of prana that can be put in this way. The first one is living prana. Living prana is the magnetism that brings about physical life, that brings about material, that brings about the object, because of its gradient in the lower pressure system relating to ether perturbation. When the ether is basically bringing about material life, it is because the ether is perturbed. It is because the ether is inverted because of the nature of collaboration, the nature of conception. I've been talking a lot, so I need to get some drinks. So, looking into the nature of ether perturbation, this is exactly what brings about what we refer to as the geometry of the toroidal field. Have you guys ever seen a torus? Okay, I'm pretty sure the majority of you have. What do you see at the center of the torus? If you're looking at a 2-dimensional version of the torus, I wish I had the torus bed right here because that's exactly what the symbol is on it. It's in the other room. So again, if you're looking at a 2-dimensional torus, what's at the center? That's the hyperboloid. Okay, that's the hourglass geometry given on a 2-dimensional perspective. The hyperboloid is the source to the dielectric or the cosmic prana. What you see with the idea of the torus field itself is an inversion of the hyperboloid that therefore forms the torus. This is, again, all Ken Wheeler's findings. Okay, guy's a genius, what can I say? Please watch him, right? He's on YouTube, Theoria Apophysis, Ken Wheeler Magnetism, right? Look him up. So basically, that's the whole idea, is that the hyperboloid, when you invert it, when you flip it around like a mirror, it becomes a torus field. When you flip the torus field inside out, it becomes a hyperboloid, because magnetism and dielectric are one. Okay, it's all prana. Okay, so the cosmic prana in this case, and I'm basically utilizing this term because nobody else has, right? Cosmic prana is the dielectric field. Okay, living prana is magnetism. Okay, so that is basically what is responsible for everything that we would refer to as the common elements: your earth, your water, your air, and your fire, right? In Chinese circles, there would also be metal and there would also be wood, and that's fine as well too. But these all represent the base elements pertaining to material universe. The material universe elements could be seen as those 4 or as those 6, okay? But there's only one element, and the element represents the ether. Now, as I've said, this is exactly why I've called the company Etherics, okay? What does the X stand for? Bringing that which is superluminal, bringing that which is spiritual, bringing that which is immaterial, and bringing it into the material. Bringing your inner power outwards. That's why when you look at the X, you see 2 arrows, okay? Intersecting together to a central point. And that is exactly what etherics is all about, okay? That's why they call it Ether X, okay? So it's the idea that I'm bringing everything that represents the harmony of the ether through my abilities that I can do into these material objects that are charging them like crazy. And guys, I've just begun with this. There's going to be products that I'm going to bring out that's even more powerful than the products I have now, okay? This is just the start. And people are going through significant amount of healing through etherics, right? And I'm not trying to say that this needs to be a replacement for anything. It's an addition to your healing journey, okay? So when you look at the idea of the orgonite pyramid, and you have this little sticker, and for those of you who have this, make sure you don't take the sticker off, okay? Sticker needs to stay there because that's what has the codes. But you are just feeling the source vibration emanating from the orgonite pyramid. The same thing goes with the amethyst clusters, okay? Amethyst clusters are also imbued with that. So it does not matter. Guys, here I have crystals, okay? Here I have a plastic bag over the towel, but the towel is still radiating in my hands. And there's a plastic cover right over it, okay? You do not need to concern about conductivity when it comes to the ether, because nothing in regards to the elements can harm it. They can't even touch it. This is just representing a significant medium. Do you know what I also could do, guys? I could basically take a plastic laminated sheet, put a geometry around it, and therefore blast it with the etherics technology, and now that plastic sheet would be radiating so much powerful life force energy it'll knock your socks off, okay? It doesn't matter about material. Material is irrelevant, because what you are getting here is the pure, pristine codes, the commands of power that are bringing about the perturbations of the ether that function beyond the material elements that are helping all of you to heal. And this is a training wheel. Etherics is a training wheel to say that, well, if these particular material objects that I'm using can help me to heal, then what am I capable of? So much more than what these objects could ever give you. But they're training wheels. They're helping you to realize your inner power is here, right? I'm proving it to you guys by you using the etherics products, right? You're wearing these sunglasses. You're putting them over your eyes. Over the next few weeks, the next couple of months, your eyes are improving. My eyes are improving. How is that possible? Because you're using your own life force energy through the codes that I've placed inside that material item that is benefiting you, because your inner power is being utilized to heal yourself completely. And it doesn't matter your age. Do you know the majority of my clients, guys, are well within over their 60s? Okay? And they are healing themselves spectacularly. Hey, guys, have you seen the tutorials on etherics? Have you seen what people have been giving me? It's miraculous what people have been going through. Person who has diabetes, who couldn't move their feet, shows me a video of them moving their feet like a happy little kid. Okay? Person who had all these particular heavy growths on their knuckles have had about 90% of their knuckles and hand repaired because of the prana bed. This is what I'm talking about, guys. You're not going to find anything else like what Etherics is delivering you. And I'm not saying that this needs to be a replacement for your healing journey, but if you guys don't have Etherics yet, you need to get on the ball, right? Work with the freebies. Okay, just go grab the free samples and start working with those. And now if you want something much more potent, now you can grab some of the products. Okay, guys, and I'm offering these in a very affordable way. Okay, other people who made these big corporations would probably charge you about $5,000 for you to even get this. Okay, Brad, you got something here that's amazingly helping to heal people. Come on, you got to charge by the thousands. So I'm not going to do that because I want everybody to enjoy this at a decent rate, a decent affordable rate, right? So 30, 40, 50, when it comes to the bed kits, over 100, 150, etc. That's basically where I want to keep it because I want to have everybody enjoy this. It's an investment, but it's an investment that's going to pay off. Okay. So Jan, going back to your question, I asked this because the plastic is not a conductor. Can I place a plastic transparent protection sheet over it? Absolutely. You could put 100 of them over it and it wouldn't affect it. Okay. Because it is the ether that is bringing about this power. It is the ether that is talking to you. As you are the ether, it is talking to your magnetism, it is talking to your dielectric field, and it is completely healing you, 100%. Okay? And if there's resistance, it's because we're holding on to things. And as I've talked about that before, the Etherics Academy is coming out here in mid-August, August 15th. Okay, I was going to see if I can do a quick video update about that today. But we're going to have enrollment taking place on the 15th of August, and the first class is going to happen on the 2nd of September. Okay, so I'll see if I can get around to do a video today. I'm still packing everything, getting ready for the UK. Please forgive me if I don't get around to it, but I will do my best, certainly before the time of August 15th. Okay, and I'll let you guys know about the Etherics Academy because you guys are going to be learning a lot of these techniques. You're going to be learning a lot of these practices. You're going to be learning about how to move yourself into becoming an empowered being, right? That's really what this is all about. It's going to be phenomenal. Very much like what I taught my students when I was talking about New Earth students several months ago. And my students have turned into really amazing people. And the same thing is going to happen with you guys. There's no limit. You guys, we can have as many students as we want in the Etherics Academy because we're all doing everything through group capacity. Okay? Let's go down the list here a bit more. We got about another 10 minutes before we wrap up. Let's see if I can find some more. I'm glad you guys are sharing such really great questions. So, like Jan, even what you shared as well too was a phenomenal question. Right, because I really wanted to get that out there. So, and you reminded me of that as well too. We're talking about the plastic transparent protection sheet. Thank you for reminding me about that because I wanted to talk to you guys about the one true element, which is the ether. Okay. Let's see here. I'm just reading a few comments here, guys. Just give me a minute. Got somebody with a weed whacker outside. So. Okay, let's see here. Dudley 2015 says, is everyone able to hear these hearings or is it only broadcast in the US? I actually found this on TikTok, right? So you could actually go onto TikTok and just type in UFO hearing and there's quite a few clips in regards to the UFO hearing. Like I said, my girlfriend sent it to me this morning and I was blown away. It's like, fantastic, this is great. This is going on the broadcast today, right? So I didn't even know about it until this morning. So Brianne sent it to me and I aired it. Awesome. Okay. So Betsy says, so earth, air, water, fire exist because of ether and not alone with it. You got it. It is because the ether is the one true element. Okay. We can't really describe the ether because if we try to describe the ether, we're trying to put some sort of elemental material twist on it. Okay. But in the Bible, they would often refer to the ether as the waters. Right. The funny thing is even quantum science refers to the ether as quantum fluid, which is kind of stupid, but that's what they call it as. You simply can't have a particular form of scientific notion without the ether. Okay? The ether is formless. It has no particular form together. It is infinite capacitance. It is infinite in energy. It cannot be drained away. There can be no parasitical endeavor that's taking place that's draining the ether of all of its energy. It's impossible. It has an untapped well of pure capacitance. It has an untapped well of pure energy that can never be satiated. Right? That's God, my friends. Okay? That's the ether. So again, this is why science basically rips their hair out. Probably not my condition because my hair is falling away. So, but they're ripping their hair out, trying to, how can we put the ether into words? How can we describe what it is? You can't. Because anything you try to describe with the nature of the ether is not doing its true nature. You're not doing it justice by giving it a term, okay? Other than the nature of referring to it as the infinite, right? That's the ether. It's the infinite. It has infinite capacitance. It has infinite energy. It can never be satiated. It can never be extinguished. It can never die. It has no beginning. It has no end. It has no middle. You cannot fathom it. It is the unfathomable scale, but it is through the unfathomability that represents the ether that all life exists, because all life that exists is subject to the nature of change based on it being impermanent. Okay? Fire is an impermanent thing. Why is it impermanent? Because it can be extinguished. Water is an impermanent thing. Why is it impermanent? Because it too can be extinguished. Air can be extinguished. Earth can be extinguished. They are impermanent elements, and they are not true elements. There is only one element that exists, and that is the ether. And this is a secret that has been kept for many thousands of years through ancient circles, through ancient mastery schools. You are never to tell anybody about the ether. Never tell anybody about the ether, or we'll hang you. We'll execute you. We'll find you, and we'll kill you. Okay? There was such a secrecy to the ether, and again, that's when the ether was thick. That's when the ether was high. Okay? When I'm talking about high and low, I'm just referring to the level of intensity pertaining to ether perturbation that represents the thickness and the thinness of the, you could say, the veils around the planet. Okay? So when the ether is high, the fog is thick. When the ether is low, the veil is thin. The fog is thin. Okay? So that's the whole idea, guys. Start looking into the ether. Start looking into the pure infinite intelligence. That's what I've been about for the past 15 years of my life, guys, is working with the ether, because it will work with you. That's the true divine infinite intelligence. It wants you to work with it because you're seeing yourself as the ether. The ether sees itself as you. It wants to work with you. How do you think I got these abilities, guys, about being able to put all of these things that represent etherics directly into the material objects? Because the ether wants to work with you. Spirit wants to work with you. You are the child of Spirit. You are the child of God. You are the child of the divine. You are the child of the infinite. The ether wants to work with you, right? This is why I keep getting encouraged. Bring out etherics. Bring out etherics. Bring out etherics. Get it out there. Because that is exactly what we're working with. We're working with the power of Spirit. We're working with ether. Spirit, ether, the higher self, the soul, it's all the same. Okay? It represents the infinite. So that's the whole idea. So again, yes, we have been taught through many science books, oh, there's only 4 elements. They don't even talk about the ether, right? Okay, well, there's water, there's fire, there's air, there's earth. There's the elements. No. You are looking at the impermanent elements, right? We can call them elements, but you can call them the impermanent elements. You can call them the material elements. Because fire will never burn the ether. Water will never drench the ether. Air will never blow the ether away. Earth will never bury the ether. Right? The ether is the one. Okay? It is beyond the tip of the pyramid. It is everything that is responsible for all form. Everything that represents magnetism is, again, the lower pressure gradient that represents the effective magnetism of life force energy or living prana that gives birth to every living thing. Everything is brought from the ether, but nothing in that sense has brought the ether into being. It has always been. It always has been. It always will be. It is not subject to change. It is the only element that is not under the guise of subject to change impermanence. Okay? Everything that comes from the ether lives and dies. But the ether itself always is. It will never die. Never has a beginning, never has an end, never has a middle. It is unfathomable. It is the infinite. But we can't digest it because we're trying to look at everything through the mind. Well, if I put a little dot on the page, then I can focus my mind there. Absolutely. Because now you've made that page finite. What happens when there's no dot on the page? Your mind doesn't know where to go because it's looking at the infinite. Okay? And that's an example of the ether. Okay? Take a white sheet of paper and just hold it up. Your mind doesn't know where to go. It just scatters all across the page because it's looking at the infinite. Right? That's the ether. And that is what's responsible for all life. That is what's responsible for all material. That is what's responsible for all form. That is the dielectric. That is the magnetic. That is the magnetism coming together to propagate all forms and objects that represent the perturbation, the disturbance, the inversion of the ether. The ether inverts because of conception. It's the nature of thought. And you can go into these very, very deep states where you are just completely still and silent, where you have nothing that you can identify with. You just are still. And as soon as a thought comes out, what happens? You merge into that thought, and that thought takes you back into the outer world again. Okay? It's exactly what a thought does. It is an expression of the ether externalized. When you bring yourself back into the stillness and surrender of your being, where everything within yourself is stilled, there's nothing regarding an externality. Everything is internalized. Everything simply is. But as soon as a thought comes out, you go back into the external based upon the nature of that form. And that is ether perturbation. That is the perturbation, the disturbance of the ether, because you have followed a thought. You have let a conception come together. The conception, the idea that leads into the thought, that leads into the feeling, that may lead into an emotional aspect, depending upon the thought's criteria, has brought you into an externality relating to now seeing the mind. The mind is the byproduct of you chasing the thought. The mind is an externalization of the self. The mind is an externalized perturbation of the ether. Behold. There's the ether. Brad, what's magnetism? Magnetism is the low pressure gradient. It is the loss of inertia when it comes to the dielectric field. It will always go into a low pressure gradient because a low pressure gradient is what represents the nature and the propagation of materialization, that therefore represents form to which you can identify with, to where the mind basically has an orgasm because it can now identify with an object. The mind is a byproduct externalization of the ether perturbation. It is a device. It is a construct. It is a visual screen to where all these things can come alive, to where we therefore have forms. Is there anything wrong with the mind? There's nothing wrong with the mind at all. Right? Should we try and throw away the mind? You can't throw away the mind. Can we destroy the mind? You can't destroy the mind. It is an externalization property. As soon as you go into thought, the mind is there. That is the product of externalization. That is nature. You cannot destroy the mind. You cannot kill the mind. It's not possible. But what you can do is you can silence it. And you go into the harmony of your inner being. Right? The mind can never be destroyed. I know there's a lot of teachers, oh yeah, Brad, we can kill the mind. No, you can't. There's nothing killed about it. Right? The nature of the construct of the mind cannot be killed because it's a part of the infinite. I wouldn't even say a part of the infinite. It represents the infinite as an externality. So you cannot have an externality representing the infinite to be killed. It is an infinite construct that represents finite property that is enabling you to identify with thoughts, to giving you much more of an understanding of what you can generate and express through the nature of form and objectness. Right? Simple. Nothing to it. So the ether represents that movie screen. It's the visual screen. Okay? It's these images popping on the screen because that is the folding of the ether that makes the movie screen go on so that you see some type of form or forms or objects or images, anything of the like, that has now been materialized through the perturbation of the ether because you have externalized the self. You have externalized God. That's what you've done. But the mind is the self. But the self is not the mind. Okay? So the mind just represents the externalization. It is the externalization of the ether that represents this movie scheme that brings you forward the images, objects, forms, and any other forms of materialized concepts to helping you give much more of an idea to the nature of your own expression that you choose to convey. I hope I've made that clear for everybody. Brad, can you slow down? All right, here I am in super slow motion, okay? Pay attention. The mind is the externalization of the self that comes about through the attention of you, bringing about attention to the materialized form objectness that conception, idea, thought, feeling, emotion, and sensation conveys onto the visual screen, which represents an externalization of the infinite that enables you to explore life in the way that you do. Okay? That is the ether. The ether, when it is perturbated, when it is twisted, when it is inverted, becomes a movie screen. And on this movie screen can be any particular object, form, image, material that you wish. But it's an externalization. This body right now represents an externalization. Everything that represents the internal systems of this body represents an externalization. The magnetism that is binding this body through this universe is an externalization of a lower pressure gradient pertaining to the nature of living magnetism, hence the living prana. Everything that represents the governing of that magnetism comes from the cosmic prana. That is basically binding everything together through the nature of the perturbation of the ether itself. This is why the hyperboloid is the internal, right? And the folding of the hyperboloid representing its negative opposite would pertain to the torus field. The torus field representing that of magnetism. And it is constantly jumbled and clashing in between the magnetism and the dielectric, right? So anyways, I'm hoping this makes sense to everybody, right? Some call it plasma fields. You can call it whatever you want. Nature doesn't give a crap what you call it. Okay, you can call it plasma. You can call it magnetism. You can call it anything. It doesn't really matter, right? You can call the idea of the prana plasma. You can call the nature of the prana chi. You can call it magnetism. Okay, you can call it the dielectric. It doesn't care what you call it. It's not giving you a censor and say, "Don't you dare call me that, or else." Whether you call it magnetism, whether you call it chi, whether you call it prana, whether you call it plasma, whether you call it anything, doesn't matter what it calls it. This is the actuality of what is. All right? Okay, let's go to one last question before we wrap up today. Actually, let's go to Ian's, and then I'll go to the one last question. Ian says, would you call this spirit, or does spirit work through the ether? Spirit and ether are one and the same. Okay? There is no difference between the ether and spirit. There is no difference between the spirit and ether because they are both unfathomable. They do not have a mathematical property. They are property-less, and they cannot be identified. Therefore, they would fall under the infinite nature of beingness. Okay? So ether, spirit, God, the self, all the same. Okay? The divine, the source, all the same. Because they all represent the nature, not the property, but the nature of the infinite. And they can't be defined. They cannot be quantified. They cannot be calculated. They cannot be limited in a way. They can't be put into a box. Okay? So this is why everything that represents the higher self, the soul, spirit, the ether, the divine, the source, God, all are the same. Because they all represent the infinite nature of beingness. Being and non-being. Okay? All right, let's go to the final question here, and this will be Krista. Krista says, Brad, can you look at Canada? I'm looking at Canada right now. What do you want to know? I'm in Canada. All right. I guess you're asking how are things going to go momentum-wise for the country of Canada. Okay. But I'm looking right outside right now at Canada, and it's looking pretty darn good, right? It's a nice, beautiful, sunny day here. But let's take a look at the momentum of Canada, about where it is going, and then we're going to end the broadcast, okay? So let's take a look and see. What is the momentum ahead for the country of Canada? How are things going? Okay, well, a lot of the scandals that are happening in Canada right now, of course, we have the lovely, what's the best way to refer to him? Castro, right? He's still there, of course, but things are not going to be going ahead of plan is what they're trying to do, because there's been a very large grasp upon Canada pertaining to the dark forces, but they are basically fading fast. So the nature of the current about how things are going in Canada is there's about to be a lot of joy from where there has been a lot of sadness, okay? Things are about to be shaken up in Canada. And I think we're having an election coming up here very soon as well, too. So there's going to be some big significant changes there, okay? So there's a lot of work being done behind the scenes, as I've talked about. This is very common for country to country from what I've looked at. I've looked at hundreds of countries over the past couple of years relating to this, and they're all going through immediate transformations. But the whole idea is they're making these things look bad so that they can get the people to stand up and deal with it, okay? That is basically the agenda of every single country that has been under the COVID-19 guise, where they're basically trying to make things look bad so that the people will stand up and take power into their own hands and move forward, that they will make better choices, that they realize that these old systems are rotten to the core, and they are going to help innovate together with each other new innovative systems that will not enable breaches of freedoms like what these systems have been doing, okay? So it's creating a strength. It's creating a retaliation. People are going to get angry, right? They're going to get angry. They're going to get pissed off. They're going to get outraged by everything that's happening, and that's all part of the plan, okay? It's meant to piss you off. It's meant to get you to stand up, light a fire under your butt, and stand up and say, nope, I'm going with my soul tribes, I'm working together with the collective, and we're going to work together, and we're going to demand that these particular systems get abolished, because we're not going to allow any of these things to be taken advantage of the people anymore. And I'm not just talking about Canada, I'm talking about every single country that is on this planet that has been under the guise of the COVID-19 agenda, okay? Every single one of us is getting lit by a fire under our butts to stand up and say, we're not going to take this anymore. We're going to go out into the streets. We're not going to cooperate. We are going to give non-violent resistance, right? Or basically in that sense, we could even say to the idea of, we're basically just going to give non-cooperation to the entire agenda. And we'll go out into the streets, we'll bang some pots and pans, and we'll get so much attention that we can't be ignored, that these systems will need to be changed. And that's exactly what is going to be happening, okay? There's been certainly a lot of spurts through it. A lot of areas in Europe and Asia have had a lot more of this activity than the West has. So the West is slow as hell, right? We're slower than a turtle. We're more like snail speed, okay? And again, we have to really kind of heat things up to get the complacent Westerners to get up off their butts, to start going onto the streets and start banging the pots and pans and start saying, no, this is all going to change, and we're not leaving until it is. The Freedom Convoy was part of that change, but there still needs to be more that needs to be done, okay? So the whole idea is that how much can we piss off the people of Canada before they get up off their ass and start going to the streets and saying no more? Because that's what's going to keep happening until we do that. That is the same for Americans. That is the same for the English. That is the same for any other particular country that you want to name. I don't care what country it is, because that's what it's going to take, is for the majority of people to get out and say, no more, we're not going to take this anymore, we're moving into independency. We want independency. We do not want any type of corporate, garbage, illusionary structure on this planet through our country that is basically burning the candle at both ends, where there's nothing that can be significant in regards to prosperity relating to the people. Okay? And until that happens, like I said, these situations are just going to keep stirring up. Universe is saying, the ether is saying, how much do you want, humans? Huh? How much more of this do you want until you get up off your asses and go out into the streets and you say, no more? Because this is going to keep happening until you do that. Right? So again, there's progress that's being made, absolutely. But people go, oh, just, it's counter forces behind the scenes and we don't have to do anything. No, you have to do things. You got to do things. Okay? Because you're the counter forces as well. So that's really the whole idea. Guys, it doesn't matter what country you're from. This is the same answer to any country that you're in. Okay? Doesn't matter if you're in Canada. Doesn't matter if you're in the United States. Doesn't matter if you're somewhere in Europe. Doesn't matter if you're somewhere in Asia. Doesn't matter if you're in Australia. This is the answer to all the countries. You got to get up off your butt, work together with the soul tribes, and therefore show your support that you no longer prefer systems like this. That's the answer. There's nothing else you need to know, right? That's exactly why everything is happening in the shakeup, because believe me, guys, for the past 3 years since I've been doing this, I've had every single person for every single country. Brad, look at Sweden. Brad, look at Switzerland. Brad, look at Papua New Guinea. Brad, look at Mexico. Brad, look at the United States. Brad, look at Estonia. Brad, look at Slovenia. Brad, look at Ireland. Any of these particular countries that have come up. And I've told you guys the exact same thing. It's the exact same pattern. This is why I had to get off this for a while. Because, guys, I just feel like I'm on rewind and a feedback loop here. Because I keep telling you guys the same thing. We can look at it and say, okay, yeah, counter forces are going in. There's a behind-the-scenes transformation taking place, absolutely. But this could go so much quicker if the people of those countries get up off their butt, get some pots and pans, and start banging around to your governmental buildings, to your places of authority, and you refuse to leave until change happens. And you'll be free of it. That can happen and end very, very shortly. It will create an acceleration if we do that. But a lot of people don't want to do that because they're still trusting in the process and they're still thinking that the politicians are going to change their mind and things are going to get out. No. This is up to us. Okay? This isn't up to your politicians. This isn't up to the behind-the-scenes elite counter forces that are going in and committing operations. Okay? They're helping out to a degree, yes. But the big change comes from the masses of people. Okay? Even if we have a small amount, right? Even if we have 1/3 majority of people on the planet going out and doing this, that's enough to make a significant change. Okay? But encourage yourselves to go out, right? When the Freedom Convoy was happening, I was definitely going out there showing my support as well too when that took place. Okay? Even in times when there was the Occupy movements, I was out there quite a bit showing support to people, even offering donations to these organizations that are helping with this. Okay? That's what you got to do. Okay? If you're not able to be there in the physical, then put your good intentions toward all of this. Okay? Or Brad, I got a 9-to-5 job and I'm not sure if I have enough time. Okay, that's fine. Put your intentions. Like I said, only the thought is needed. And activate that thought. We're looking for change. I am completely behind the support of that. And in any way I can, I will offer that support and help and assistance to make things better. That's all it takes, right? It's just as I've said before, guys, I'm not telling anything new here, right? It's old stuff, but it's still relevant old stuff because it's a feedback loop. That's the whole idea. So take that for what it's worth, guys. I can only share a perspective. As Adronis says, everything that is shared is simply that of perspective, is simply that of point of view. For all knowledge, all information, all creation itself resides within your very hearts, beings, and souls. All right? So please, take that for what it's worth. Thank you, everybody, for joining me on this special episode of New Earth TV Live, where we looked at the signposts, okay? Because these are all signposts that you're seeing. And now that you've seen the signposts, it's up to you now to take that next course of action, right? See this as your world, rather than the idea of another world. It's your world, okay? Make your world brilliant. Thank you so much, guys. Blessings to you all. I will let you know how the UK goes. Again, I'm leaving tomorrow afternoon with my beautiful sweetie. and we're going to enjoy the UK. We're going to do a lot of investigating, exploring. We're going to have a lot of phenomena that's going to be taking place. So I'll be making some little snippet videos here and putting them up on YouTube when I'm in the UK. I'm looking forward to it. And I'll speak to you again, guys, in 2 weeks' time. That is when the next New Earth TV Live will be up and running. All right. Take care, guys. And I'll also give more information on the Etherics Academy. I'll see if I can do a video today or tomorrow before I leave. No promises, but I will do my best. All right. Take care, guys. Blessings to you all. Namaskar. And may it be well with you. Goodbye for now. Thank you so much for tuning in to New Earth Teachings on YouTube. Don't forget to check out our websites, newearthteachings.com, where you can do private sessions with me, and also etherics.co. And through Etherics, you'll be able to pick up your Healing Code Cards body deck, your mind deck, and your energy deck through Etherics. You will also be able to pick up the Etherbed kit. That is also on Etherics as well. Not to mention that you'll also be able to pick up some apparel and accessories that is also available on Etherics. Thank you so much for tuning into this video, and I look forward to speaking to you in the next one. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti, Namaskar, and may it be well with you.